Welcome back, Wildcat Nation, to episode 11 of season 7. I'm Abby Harvey with Isaac Wolf, and today is our last episode of season 7 and my last ever episode on Wildcat Week. To start things off, Isaac's going to talk about outdoor track and field.
So we have 4 awards for the Athlete of the Week in track, and Marion swept them all. So Hannah Reuter won Outdoor Track and Field Track Athlete of the Week. She posted a personal best performance in the 100 meters and the long jump, but highlighted her week by helping Marion in the 4x4 relay to a B standard time of 3 minutes and 52.81 seconds for a runner-up finish at the ISU Invite. The Outdoor Track and Field Field Athlete of the Week is Courtney Butler of Marion. Butler was active for Marion competing at a pair of meets over the weekend. Butler turned in a pair of top 3 performances for the Knights in the hammer and added a 7th place finish in the shot put. The men's outdoor track and field track athlete of the week is Eric Materna of Marion. Materna helped Marion hit another A standard in the 4x400 meter relay, this time placing second at the ISU Invite with a time of 3 minutes and 10.6 seconds. And then the men's outdoor track and field field athlete of the week is Christian Rios of Marion. He is a very familiar name on this list. He continued his dominant spring season by winning the shot put and taking second in the discus at the Marion Throws Open. The senior posted national standards in each event, hitting A standard in the discus.
On the IWU side of things, they didn't have too much action last week, but they're at the Drake Relays now in Des Moines, Iowa, and they're preparing to host, I think it's the last year of them hosting NAI Nationals for the 3rd time, beginning May 21st. So not much info on them, but hosting the national tournament or national competition will be fun on campus.
Volunteers are still needed for that.
Yes, if you're watching this and you would like to volunteer, they need you.
So we'll go to golf now. We have a women's and men's golfer of the week, both from Bethel. So Izzy Eigner of Bethel, top of the field at the Pilot Spring Invitational, shooting rounds of 74 and 75 to take first place in the 30-player field. And then Jonah Comfort of Bethel played to medalist honors at the Pilot Spring Invitational, posting scores of 71 and 73 to finish the 36-hole tournament at even par and on top of the individual leaderboard.
On the IWU side of things, men's golf recently won the Campen Kostler Invitational, and Sam Dykema took first place, and then Kyle Sanders was also top 5. On the women's side, they have their conference tournament next week on Monday and Tuesday in Columbus, Indiana for Crossroads League Championship. And then the men's are the week after that.
Mm-hmm. And now for tennis, the women's tennis player of the week is Isabella Herrera of Huntington. Herrera cruised to a 6-0 win at number 1 doubles during Huntington's 7-0 defeat of Manchester. The doubles match was Herrera's lone outing of the week. And then for the men's tennis player of the week, it is Pedro Scatallone of Goshen. Scatallone closed his collegiate career for Goshen in style, scoring wins at number 6 singles and number 3 doubles for the Leafs in a team loss to number 13 Grace. Scatallone's single win was Goshen's lone point of the contest.
And on the IWU side, women's came in at number 24 for the final poll. They had a 19-9 record overall with a 13-5 spring season. We highlighted them in the spring, so obviously in the fall, so their sport is a little bit split up. And then on the men's side of things, they ended their season with a 10-15 record and an 8-8 overall spring record. So they're done. Women's will still look into postseason, I'm thinking, right?
Possibly.
Yes. I think it comes out where they go, maybe. But mostly all these sports are looking into postseason soon. Then moving on to baseball up next.
Yes, the baseball player of the week is Braden Manning of Taylor. Manning opened the Iowa series with 3 straight 3-hit games and powered number 11 Taylor to a 4-game sweep by hitting .714 with 2 home runs, 1 triple, and 10 RBI. Manning also walked 4 times and posted a 2.064 OPS in the series. The baseball pitcher of the week is Jared Hurlburt of Mount Vernon. Hurlburt tossed a 7-inning shutout at Goshen in a 1-0 Mount Vernon victory. The junior fanned 11 without walking a batter and allowed just 3 hits in the complete game victory. So as for the Crossroads League standings for baseball, Taylor is really running away with it. They're 28-4 in conference right now, 37-8 overall. They're ranked 12th nationally. They've won 6 in a row, and second place in the conference is St. Francis at 20-12. So there's an 8-game difference between 1 and 2. Not much of a chance to catch up. I think Taylor has solidified the regular season conference championship, at least by this point. Top 5 in conference looks like Taylor, St. Francis, Mount Vernon, and actually we got a 3-way tie for third place between Mount Vernon, IWU, and Marion. all at 18 and 14 in conference. Right now, according to this, Mount Vernon has the tiebreaker at number 3, Indiana Wesleyan is number 4, and Marion is number 5.
On the IWU side of things, Indiana Wesleyan obviously just got swept by Taylor 4 games. This past weekend, they're 18 and 14 in Crossroads League and 23 and 17 overall. They are on a 7-game losing streak, but pretty hard when you had to play Taylor for those games. So they look to bounce back tomorrow on Friday as they play home against Spring Arbor. Now on to the best sport, softball.
And we have some news for the softball players of the week. Both are from Indiana Wesleyan. We start with the pitcher of the week, which is Jordan Ball. She went 6-0 in the circle for the Wildcats as she earned the win in each of her 6 outings, posting a 1.69 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP over her 29 innings of work, piling up 26 strikeouts to just 6 walks and 28 hits allowed. And this one's fun. The softball player of the week in the Crossroads League, not just the Crossroads League, but the NAIA National Softball Player of the Week is our very own Abby Harvey.
We need sound effects, clapping.
So let's see what you did this week. You drove in 22 runs during a 7-1 week. You hit 643 with 7 extra base hits in 28 at-bats, scoring 6 times and stealing 6 bases as well. And you had, 9 RBI against, was that against St. Francis?
Marion.
That was against Marion. Okay.
Nope. And
that tied the single game record, I believe,
it did.
in IWU history. So, Abby Harvey, you are looking at the National Softball Player of the Week. So now,
all right.
How about you tell us about how softball is going with the standings and everything?
Yeah, so we're in first place right now with a 28-4 conference record. We're 38-6 overall. Marion is closely behind us. That's why last weekend was such a big game against them. They're 27-5, so literally just one game. They're 37-7 overall, and then after that, it's kind of a toss-up in the middle, but with all the other teams kind of just chilling there. We have 4 games left before conference tournament. And it's hosted by Taylor, so it'll be pretty close to home next week. And then senior day is tomorrow against Mount Vernon. And then we'll play Huntington on Saturday. So some decent games coming up. Huntington and Mount Vernon, definitely not games we can look past. So it'll be exciting. But I feel like things are all clicking right now. Obviously, the first game against Marion was a bit tough. I don't think anyone going into those games thought that the first game Marion was going to run roll us and the second game we were going to run roll them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a toss-up. We'll see him.
Is Stunkel still undefeated?
Probably.
She was 20-0 after that game.
She probably still is then. But Taylor almost beat Marion twice yesterday, actually. It was 1-run games going into the 7th for Taylor. But Marion ended up squeezing by both of those. But we'll definitely probably see Marion again in conference tournament. We saw them 7 times last year, so probably going to see them again.
Explain how the conference tournament works with double elimination and everything.
Yeah, so it's actually new. They changed it last year, the year before. There's a play-in day on Tuesday next week. So 1 through 4 automatically gets in, and we'll play Wednesday. So thinking that we get the first seed, hopefully. Knock on wood. And then 5 through 8 will all play each other on the Tuesday. So 5 will play 8 and 6 will play 7 to see who even gets in. So those games aren't double elimination. It's just one and done. If you win, you're in the tournament. If not, and then 9 and 10 obviously don't make it. So it's looking like Bethel and Grace won't make it. And then everyone else, it's kind of crazy because the play-in game difference is 1 game. So Mount Vernon is 1 game behind not having to play a play-in game, which could be big for them. That's why beating them tomorrow is going to be big for us. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting because there's a lot of teams in our conference that kind of just show up and beat people. So it'll be interesting. The middle of the conference is kind of whack right now.
Stunkel is still 21-0, by the way. So that is one of the toughest, if not, would you say that's the toughest pitching matchup in the conference?
Yeah. I think when it's her and Jordy on the mound, because we haven't seen that matchup with her and Jordy because we've been pitching Jordy second game. They pitch Stunkel first game. So conference tournament, we'll probably see both of them on the mound against each other, which will be interesting. It won't be run rules, we'll tell you that. Yeah.
1.63 ERA for Stunkel. So what makes her so difficult to hit off of?
She has a lot of movement. But honestly, I think it's not too many of us hit off of her last year. There's only like 3 or 4 because we graduated so many. But I think sometimes we tend to put her on this pedestal thinking like we can't hit her. But then there'll be girls that have not seen her ever before. They go up and they hit the ball hard. So she's not, I mean, although her record says she's unbeatable, she's not unbeatable because we've beat her before in years past. We just got to, I don't know. That's what happens when you play teams that many times. At some point, you're going to find it. So, yeah. I think if we can figure out her up movement and her change up, I think we'll be good.
Gotcha.
But looking like we'll get the 1 seed, and then Marion will get 2. 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 could be a toss-up. I think 8's pretty solidified with Goshen, but all those other ones, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, then the tournament is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, double elimination.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be at Taylor, correct?
Yes, all the games. Which is also going to be interesting to watch, too, because they have the smallest field in the conference, and it's in, like, a valley, so the wind is, like, always blowing out. So there could be a lot of home runs.
Okay.
So we'll see about that.
And you hit one yesterday, didn't you?
I did. Oh, yeah.
All right. So we'll move on now to the Learfield Directors Cup winter standings. Those came in as the winter sports wrapped up a couple weeks ago. We, as Indiana Wesleyan, are in second place currently with heading into the spring with 792.25 points. So I'm not entirely educated on how the scale is with how many points you earn for different finishes. But our women's basketball team brought in the highest numbers for us in the winter, obviously being the national runner-up. They recorded 90 points. Cheer got 70 points for their 5th place finish at nationals. And then Macy Schmidtgall won the diving national championship, so she got 60 points for that. Indoor track and field got 57.75 for us. Men's basketball added 50, and men's swim and dive earned 29 points for us. So we are one of 5 Crossroads League schools in the top 50 for this award.
What are those?
Yes, we're number 2. Marion is right behind us at number 3, and then Spring Arbor's 19, and then Grace is 38 with Taylor at number 40. We currently trail University of the Cumberland by 213.75 points. So I don't know how much of a gap that is, but it sounds
feels like a lot.
It sounds pretty large. But yes, those are the current standings for the Learfield Directors Cup after the winter season. We will get full results from those after softball, baseball, all these sports that we just mentioned, after their seasons wrap up around mid-May, potentially June, if you go, far enough in the national tournament.
Yeah. And what are the Crossroads standings looking like?
The Crossroads League standings, according to the website, let me pull this up real quick. For the all sports standings in the Crossroads League, Marion and Indiana Wesleyan are tied at 112.5 apiece.
So we got to win conference now.
And then everybody else is pretty far behind. Grace is at 89.5. Spring Arbor's at 89.5. Those two are tied for 3rd. And then Huntington, Bethel, Mount Vernon, Taylor, St. Francis, and Goshen at the bottom. But it'll be a race to the finish with us and Marion, and softball is a big part of that one because we're competing with them for the conference title. So.
Yep. And then track and field, both of those compete high at nationals as well.
Yes. Marion is very, very good.
I'm not sure how.
I believe Marion won the indoor track and field national championship.
I don't think either of them are competing on baseball obviously Taylor's kind of running away with that, but I don't know how that looks with the other sports. But yeah, it'll be fun to see. Mm-hmm. We don't know really how these are scored, so we'll just see when it comes out. But this is sad. I'm sad.
I know.
This is my last episode.
It's crazy.
Well, that's all for episode 11 of season 7, and that's all for my past 5 seasons of Wildcat Week. Sad. But for good news, Isaac's coming back next semester to host again. He has a new special guest that you'll have to tune in next semester to see.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll just say that much.
He basically is saying it's going to be more fun with his new guest than me.
Okay.
But I think it'll be fun. I'll keep watching, but he's going to be taking over. Shout out to our editor, Nick Windsor, for all the work he does behind the scenes, always making sure everything's edited together, and all of our Amplify staff for making this possible for one last time. I'm Abby Harvey with Isaac Wolf here on Wildcat Week, presented by Amplify Media.